Number 10. Deadly California Shooting. In July 2021, TikTok sensation Anthony Barajas was shot and killed while on a date with his girlfriend, Riley Goodrich. She too perished in the shooting, of which there was no obvious motive. It all started with one idea: let's go see a movie. According to Riley's dad, Anthony had only recently asked her on a date. It was actually their very first outing, and Riley's father said she seemed really happy before leaving the house. Plus, it was nice that the guy had over 1 million followers on TikTok. He was kind of a big deal. Everything went wrong when the lights went dark for the movie to start. Completely unprovoked and for no good reason, a 20-year-old guy named Joseph Jimenez walked into the movie theater where the young couple were having their date and opened fire. The first shot went straight through the back of Riley's head, killing her instantly. The second shot sealed Anthony's fate, with the bullet going through his eyeball and into his skull. Both of them literally had their brains blown out while trying to watch Forever Purge. And to make things even more horrifying, nobody else even noticed the shooting had happened. Their corpses weren't discovered until the movie was over, and employees went to clean the theater. Employees at the theater told local reporters that nobody on staff had even heard a gunshot. And even though the killer was arrested and is now being charged with murder, he hasn't given the police any motive for why he did it. It looks like he just got all worked up watching The Purge and pulled his gun out. Number 9. The wrong seat. A dispute over theater seats left one man dead during a showing of Spider-Man: No Way Home at a theater in Atlanta. Anyone who's been to a movie recently, or even in the last 5 years, knows about assigned seating. You buy your ticket, choose your seat, and there's no issues. When you go into the movie theater, there's no debate over whose seat is where. The number is literally right there on the ticket. In this AMC theater, a man was sitting in somebody else's seat. He knew he wasn't supposed to be sitting in the seat, and yet he sat in it anyway. This made the rightful ticket holder angry. The man with the ticket was so angry that he pulled out a gun and shot the guy sitting in his spot. The gunshot caused mass panic. Everyone started screaming and running out of the theater. The shooter also ran out of the theater in the wave of panic and has not yet been apprehended by the police. They described him as a man in a jacket and a hoodie, because that's really going to narrow it down. Thankfully, it looks like the victim survived. He was rushed to a nearby hospital in critical condition. This was back in December of 2021, and the shooter is still on the loose. Number 8. Busted. If you were to see a couple of teenagers making out in the theater, you probably wouldn't think too much about it. But when a fully grown couple decided to get frisky and go all the way at a Texas theater, the other moviegoers had some serious issues with it. People showed up to the San Antonio movie theater in 2017 to be entertained, but not like this. Melissa Feist McHouston and Adam Emmett Lee are facing charges of public lewdness. They were booked into the Bexar County Jail and then released on bond. These weren't teenagers. They were closer to being seniors than being teens. Here's what actually went down when the movie started. One employee noticed the couple getting a little too intimate. He went to go get his manager, and they returned together to find the couple getting busy like a couple of Energizer bunnies. The manager told them that it was a public space, and they needed to stop what they were doing. The woman climbed off her partner, and the two stood there in shock, not saying anything. It took an uncomfortably long time for them to put their clothes back on, and that was when the police came in and took them to the station. They probably thought they were going to have a bit of exhibitionist fun, but they just ended up in jail. Oops. Number 7. Assault during the Joker. At a screening of the movie Joker in 2019, a man became so worked up that he tried to beat the manager of the Cinemark with his fists. His name is Shane Christopher, and it all happened over a cell phone. The movie was starting, and the manager noticed that Christopher had his cell phone on. We've all seen that one guy playing with their phone even as the lights go out and the movie starts. It's annoying, and the manager told the man to stop it. But Christopher was so angry that someone would even suggest he turn his phone off, that he stood up and shoved the manager backwards. The manager backed off, and Christopher stopped playing on his phone. Everything seemed okay. But shortly after, he was back on his phone, annoying everyone in the theater. The manager told him to turn it off again. and this time Christopher got up and slapped him in the head. The only way the manager could get Christopher out of the movie theater was by bringing in the security guard. But Christopher proved tough, slapping and grappling with them both. They needed help from two people in the auditorium just to drag Christopher outside, where the police put him in a squad car. When the cops asked him what his name was, he replied, "I'm the Joker." Have you ever gotten into a risky altercation because of somebody playing on their phone in a theater? Let us know about it in the comments, and don't forget to hit subscribe before the end of the video. Number 6. Movie theater mayhem in Germany. In Germany, a gunman was shot to death by special police officers after he took hostages during a movie. It happened in June of 2016 in a small town near Frankfurt, when a man armed and masked walked into a cinema complex at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. The cinema was showing Alice in Wonderland and The Jungle Book. The man was dressed in a balaclava, combat boots, an ammunition belt over one shoulder, and what appeared to be a rifle. As he entered the cinema, he started firing. But this was a pretty weird incident. He didn't actually manage to hit anybody with his bullets. He was just firing aimlessly. And then he rounded up a bunch of hostages, but didn't give any demands to the police. Within just 60 minutes, German officers stormed the theater, filled it with tear gas, and shot the guy to death. Nobody was even injured throughout the entire thing, and nobody ever figured out what his motive was. He just snapped one day, dressed up like Rambo, and walked into a theater. Number 5. Violent teenagers in Colorado. In Colorado, a mother was hospitalized after a night at the movies gone horribly wrong. It was September 2017, and she was at the Century 16 Belmont Theaters in Lakewood. She had gone to the theater with a couple of friends when a group of teens started getting out of control. The victim, Heather Piper, told them to settle down. They were crawling over the seats, screaming, and acting like a bunch of drunk hyenas. When she asked the group to be quiet, they ignored her or told her to mind her own business. Heather finally had to get a security guard involved to drag the teenagers out of the building. Everything was quiet, and everybody could finish the movie. Things were fine until the movie was over. When Heather and her friends left the theater, one of the teens came up and punched her in the side of the head. Rather than helping to defend Heather against the vicious teenager, her grown adult friends ran inside and screamed for help. Heather also didn't fight back because she didn't want to risk losing her foster parent license by beating up a teenager. The teen eventually ran away, and Heather was sent to the hospital. Heather suffered bruises, scratches, and had a fractured nose. She had blood from her face all the way down to her shoes, and yet, despite being attacked in broad daylight at a shopping center, Lakewood police have still not found the angry teenager. Number 4. A fight at the movies. A family in Arkansas is devastated due to an incident that happened at a movie theater in Little Rock in December of 2021. Their beloved family member, a man named Terrence Caffey, was left dead after getting into a brawl at a movie tavern. According to the Pulaski County Sheriff's Office, one of the officers was contacted by management at the theater, claiming Terrence was assaulting their employees. When officers arrived, they witnessed Terrence and several of the employees in a physical altercation. As sheriffs were trying to arrest Terrence, something went wrong. The police haven't exactly said what happened, with the sheriffs simply saying Terrence went into medical distress. They were trying to arrest him. He was making things difficult, and some sort of medical distress left him not breathing. He was transported to a local hospital and pronounced dead. This was a weird night at the movies for everyone. We never did find out why Terrence was fighting with staff at the theater. We don't even know how he died. Even after 4 of the Arkansas deputies involved in the incident were put on administrative leave and then returned to work, the police still haven't given the public an answer. They say the investigation is ongoing, but that could mean it goes on forever. Number 3. Ambushed in her seat. At a movie theater in Texas, a woman was sent to the hospital after being ambushed and stabbed. This was in the summer of 2021. It happened at the Santikos Palladium Theater in San Antonio at around 11 o'clock at night. The woman was walking down the hallway between the different auditoriums. From out of nowhere, a man approached from behind, stabbed her with a bladed instrument several times, and then took off running down the hall. This was one of the most shocking, unprovoked attacks in recent memory. Imagine going to use the toilet after watching a long movie and walking back to the lobby when somebody stabs you from behind for no reason. That's what happened to this poor woman who had no idea who stabbed her. There were no witnesses. The police were unable to track the suspect down, and she couldn't think of anyone who would try to assassinate her. Honestly, she's just lucky to still be alive. Number 2. Pasco County shooting. In 2014, during a matinee showing of a movie in Pasco County, a man named Curtis Reeves shot and killed someone in an argument over his cell phone. That was 8 years ago, and his trial is only now getting started. The jury must soon decide whether Curtis acted in defense of himself when he shot the man inside the movie theater, or if it was blatant murder. Right now, Curtis is 79 years old. He's a senior citizen and was 71 years old at the time of the incident. It's no surprise that he was irritated when a man named Chad Olson refused to stop texting during the movie. But Chad was irritated too. He got so angry that the old man would ask him to stop texting that he ripped Curtis's popcorn out of his hand and threw it at him. In response, Curtis pulled out his gun and shot Chad in the chest. According to eyewitnesses, the last thing Chad said was, "Man, I can't believe I got shot." Blood then started bubbling out of his mouth, and moments later, he was dead. This is a pretty controversial case. On one hand, Chad slapped the popcorn from the hands of a senior citizen and threatened him. On the other, Curtis reacted by killing him. It's now all up to the jury to decide whether Curtis is guilty of murder, or if firing his gun was a reasonable response. Number 1. The Laurier Palace Theatre Fire. In Montreal, Quebec, disaster struck at a theater in 1927. It wasn't a movie theater, but an actual theater, hosting the performance of the comedy Get 'Em Young. There were 250 children in attendance, most of them not even accompanied by an adult. Somebody didn't put their cigarette out properly. It caused a fire, and 78 people died trying to scramble out of the theater as flames climbed up the walls. It was absolute pandemonium. According to what was said by survivors of the incident, somebody cried fire. The people in attendance saw there was smoke in the air, and people rushed to the exits. But there were some major mistakes made in the first few seconds. The ushers didn't realize what was happening and blocked the east balcony exit, urging the children to get back to their seats. Because the main exit door opened inwards, everyone trying to run away piled against them and prevented the doors from opening. They were like a bunch of zombies piled against the doors, with nobody able to open the doors to let them out. There were 2 people who came away as heroes. Emile Massacotti managed to save the lives of 30 children by hurrying them away from the locked exit to the projection booth and passing them out of a window. At the other stairway that wasn't blocked, a man named Paul Champagne was busy hurrying kids out to safety. He managed to get at least 100 children out of the burning theater. When the day was over, 78 children were dead. It was terrible. 12 children had been crushed to death. 2 were burned alive, and 64 died from smoke asphyxiation. What's the craziest thing you've ever seen happen at a movie theater? Let us know about it in the comments, and thanks for watching. Be sure to hit subscribe and check out more wild videos from the channel. See you then. Bye!